And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another season of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Animation Edition. This is season 11. I can't believe I've been doing this for it's actually 10 years. 2015 is when I started. So this is 10 years ago, and I'm still doing this, and people are still coming back to play the game with me. So I haven't turned them off yet. So that's a good sign. And I'm very excited to do this again, and I'm always excited to host and to see which one of our 10 contestants can get to the million and win that $100 Amazon gift card. But mostly it's just to have fun and talk about animation with animation lovers and animation fanatics. And one of those animation lovers and animation fanatics is a familiar face to the game show who's been on the show multiple times. This is his seventh appearance, and then he's been the expert twice, actually, as Mr. Sean Nasuti. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing quite good, Mark. How about you?
I am doing amazing, and thank you again for coming back. I really appreciate it.
Oh, of course. I'm always happy to be here. So, like you said, two-time XDS, yeah, Ask the Expert. I promise I can talk. But yes, two times that, which means two-time champion, which was very fun. Like I said, one time I was like, only one of those times was a proper million, but
Yeah, I think the other time was like you got the highest score from both rounds or something. Yeah.
yes, and then the second time was a million. And actually, if I remember correctly, that was actually kind of a cakewalk by the end because by the end I had like the two probably most important lifelines. So I was like, oh, this
Exactly.
was easy.
And that season, that was season 9 when you got the million. That was the only season I had two millionaires. So someone else got a million that same season as well. So
Oh,
that was something. So for anyone who somehow hasn't watched any of these 7 appearances of yours, care to introduce yourself and what do you do and your connection with animation?
oh, absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Sean Nasuti. I am a freelance film critic who operates the review, editorial, list, whatever you call it, blog, Rhode Island Movie Corner. I've been posting there since 2012. Admittedly, my content there has been slower in recent years, but I still publish as much as I can. Case in point, if you don't mind me plugging a little bit,
No, go ahead.
right now I'm in the middle of doing a series of retrospectives on the films of DreamWorks Animation. I covered almost everything from there yet. Well, not almost everything just yet. So basically, how I did that was that I started out with the big franchises, which I like to call the ones that have at least garnered at least a trilogy worth of films. So Shrek, Madagascar, Kung Fu Panda, How to Train Your Dragon. That was
Oh,
the
you
original
find you
four.
finally saw How to Train Your Dragon.
Yes, I did, and I know exactly why. I know exactly why you're about to say this because one of our old episodes it was a How to Train Your Dragon question, and I was like, I haven't seen this yet. I finally have.
Awesome.
Though that question was one of the spinoffs, so I haven't watched that. So hopefully it won't be a spinoff question if that comes up. But yeah, I did. So that was the original four. But then by the time I got around to it, Trolls became a trilogy, so I
Oh
joined
yeah.
that. And then I did a retrospective on all the traditionally animated DreamWorks films. So you got your Prince of Egypt, your Sinbad's, your Road to El Dorado,
Yeah.
and I just recently posted one of the basically at this point now I'm just going through the rest of the filmography at this point. So my
Mhm.
most recent installment of that series covered everything from Ants to Monsters vs. Aliens, which
Okay.
also fits appropriately for the films that I've seen, active DreamWorks films that I saw in theaters growing up, because I stopped regularly watching them in 2010. So at this point, for all
Okay.
future series of installments, for most of them, I'll be watching them for the first time.
That's exciting. Like there's some I'm like seeing like Rise of the Guardians for the first time. I think will be kind of fun.
Yes, that's the next one I'm covering. Yes.
Like, you gotta let me know what you think of that. That's my favorite one of DreamWorks. So
Mm, good to know.
keep me updated.
Good to know. You'll also see, and you'll see once I publish that.
Yes,
Whenever
that's
I
true.
publish it, so like I said, that's rimoviecorner.blogspot.com.
Awesome. And I'll definitely post links to that below. And for anyone else who's new to this show, this is a 12-question multiple choice game show about anything in the field of animation. As long as Sean keeps getting questions right, he goes higher up the ladder. Once he gets one wrong, that's the end of the game, and he leaves with the last number of points from the last save haven. He has 3 lifelines to help him, a 50-50, gets rid of 2 wrong answers. A phone a friend if he chooses. He can call someone for help. I assume you're not going to use the phone a friend. And you have the Ask the Expert. In this case, the expert is blogger and animation lover Eli Sandra, who's also been on the game show multiple times. He won one season, and this is also his second time being the expert. So, Sean can see how Eli answered and go decide if he wants to go with that or not. And if Sean gets to the 32,000 points, he gets a fourth lifeline and a double dip, which gives him 2 shots at answering a question.
All right.
Sean, do you have any
Well,
questions for?
that's the one that I was gonna say. Sorry, that's the one that's the one I get
That's
helped
the
me
one you
last time.
had. Exactly. Are you ready to play Millionaire?
Absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. And one good thing that I'm doing this season, there's no more questions about animated TV series, so you could get that. You could not worry about that. I've decided
Okay.
that's way too. It's way too broad and way too much to do that. So animated TV
Okay.
specials are still fair game, but there won't be animated TV series questions. So
We literally just talked about that fact that even though I have seen How to Train Your Dragon films, I have not seen those specials. So we'll see.
we'll see. Okay, Sean, let's get started. I'm gonna share my
All right.
screen. Um, can you see the Millionaire screen?
So far, I up there we go. There we go.
Okay, you're good. You can see it.
Yep.
Awesome. And this is your ladder of points. Remember, the yellow ones are your benchmarks. Once you get to those, you can't lose no matter what.
Awesome.
And everyone, check out Eli Sansa. Check out his blog at Entertainment Junkie Blog at ejunkie.blog.com. His
Well, Eli and
info.
I have something in common. His weakness is Studio Ghibli. I'm still very weak on that. So, mm,
Nice. So keep that in mind.
but
Yes,
don't
he's
worry,
still.
Eli. I'm pretty good on Aardman, so I can pretty good there.
Yeah, and Cartoon Saloon. How do you feel about that?
So, I'm sorry. What was that?
Cartoon Saloon. How do you feel about them?
I admit I not actually heard of them.
They're the Irish studio. They do like Secret of Kells and the
Okay.
Song of the Sea. Yeah,
Okay.
but
So, I mean, so I guess if you don't mind, I'm going to mention like anyone who's followed these games for a while knows I'm notoriously kind of bad at Studio Ghibli. Like I'll know like minor details at best, but I will not. That's definitely my weakness. So that's the big one. But aside from that, I think we're all ready to go.
done. Let's get started, and hopefully you don't get any Ghibli questions, but I make no promises. Let's go. 500 points, Sean.
All right.
By what other name is the alien Stitch known as in the animated 2002 Disney canon film Lilo and Stitch? Is it Experiment 626, Project Alpha Gamma Epsilon, Assessment Pi R squared, or Trial dot dash dot?
All right. Well, that's an easy one to start us off with, so no need to worry about this one. That'll be A, Experiment 626. Final answer.
Nothing's final to say final answer, so take your time, but I think you know that your answer is wrong. No, it's correct. Good job.
Okay, so okay, I gotta bring that up now. I gotta bring up another moment. It was I forget which episode. Well, it's like I said, it's like for so many seasons at this point.
One of
But
the early
there was
ones,
one
yeah.
episode where I was on, and it was a Peter Pan question, and I immediately thought I got it. I jumped in. I was like, oh wait, no. Get it right, that one. And thankfully, and that was like the early question.
Yeah, he was the first one, I think, and yeah, that was like season 3 or something. It was very early on, from what I remember.
It might have been like more mid-season, season 5ish or
Oh,
whatnot.
really? Yeah.
I
Okay,
think
you could be
season 3
right.
was the one. It was like around season 3. I think that was the one where I exited out quick because of Ghibli.
Oh, okay. I have to watch your episodes again because there's 7 of them, so I get them mixed up.
Of course.
But Sean, anyway, Lilo and Stitch, you got that right. Are you a Lilo and Stitch fan?
Oh, absolutely. I still remember going to see the original when it was in theaters. This was 2002. At that time, I wasn't really paying attention. That was still very young. That was only 7, so I wasn't paying attention to what the atmosphere was with Disney animated films at the time. But of course, nowadays we all know that I think it's safe to say, this was arguably the most successful of the we call it the post Renaissance pre-revival area. Like
Yeah.
to me, the revival era, I follow everyone else. It starts with 2008's Bolt,
Okay.
but so that was in between. Like I mean, this era post Renaissance pre revival is an era I did grow up with a lot. I mean, I grew up on Emperor's New Groove, Treasure Planet, and stuff like that. So I wasn't like I didn't really pay attention to the fact that a lot of these films weren't doing so well, didn't do so well either with critics or at the box office. But then you have Lilo and Stitch, and it was a success partially because it was a smaller. It's probably because it was also had a smaller budget compared to a bunch of those films.
Mm.
But and as a result, with it, partly because of their viral marketing, with all the fun little tags of everyone about Stitch scratching and every other film. Days you have the Lion King, like, yeah, not circle of life. Hey, that's not Timbo.
He's blue.
or
Simba's blue.
or, or like what's Aladdin? He comes in while they're doing a whole new world. And it's like,
Whole new
hey,
world,
Jasmine,
yeah.
hey, baby. And Jasmine goes with him, and Aladdin's like,
Aladdin's
hey,
like,
get your own movie.
awesome. Well, Sean, I'm glad that you were able to get that right because as you loved it. But let's get to the next question. And again, I have to remind you, if you get it wrong, you'll leave with nothing. I don't think it's going to happen, but I just have to remind you.
I don't want
1,000
that.
points.
Well, hey, maybe I'll have another case of that Peter Pan thing.
Let's hope not. 1,000 points. Due to a curse, what does Princess Fiona transform into at night in the animated 2001 DreamWorks animation film Shrek? Is it a leprechaun? Is it a werewolf? Is it a sprite? Or is it an ogre?
Another easy one there. No need to worry about this one. That's a D for ogre. Final answer.
And you know your answer is correct. Good job. You have a
Of
1,000
course. I
points no
mean,
matter what you do today.
we did say earlier, mentioned earlier, right now, my current thing on my blog around Movie Corner is doing a DreamWorks retrospective of every film. And of course, with DreamWorks, when I said start off with the big franchises, it all begins with Shrek.
That is true.
And I think we've talked about it before. I know we had like a Shrek question before, but now that was before I did the retrospective. So, I mean, if you don't mind, I'm going to go through how I've looked at the series
Sure, go
since I
ahead. That's why you're here.
Well, hey, thanks. I do like that. Anyway, so of course, we had the original Shrek, the one from 2001, the one that started all. They made DreamWorks a household name at that point. They already had a few films at that time, but then here comes Shrek, and it's like the biggest sensation of all time. And it makes DreamWorks, well, DreamWorks. As a result, though, a lot of people do like wonder, like, how, like, is this truly still one of the classics of all time? Like, people like, of course, everyone takes note about how it was very harsh satirical take on Disney, like stuff like that, right down to the fact that the main antagonist was basically a stand-in for Disney's then CEO at the time, Michael Eisner. So
Ah,
it was
I
like,
never realized that.
oh, yep. And I'm talking about a lord. I'm not going to say his name because at this point I might have to censor that. Yeah, once you think about it, you realize.
Very true.
But that first Shrek, there's a lot of people were like, is it like, because of it, so how much those satirical jabs were very much a take that type of jab, like, does it work as well? And again, watching it again, I was like, I'd say it still holds up very well, like, classic. I'll still have a lot of quotable lines. Again, this is very much up there as one of my favorite, most quotable movies of all time. Thanks to you got Shrek, Mike Myers, Donkey, Eddie Murphy. Everyone knows it. This isn't fun. We're gonna stay up late, swapping manly stores in the morning. I'm making waffles.
You're right.
And then, but yeah, I say it still works very well with both of its humor, fun like spins on like everything, not just fairy tales, but also Disney. And then just but also it does have a good heart to it. So as a result, yeah, Shrek is still very much a classic to me.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you were able to go through that in your retrospective, and just in time for Shrek 5. And like I said, you have 1,000 points. But let's keep going. Let's try to get to the million. 2,000 points, Sean. Which titular Disney character's father is known as the Great Prince of the Forest? Is it Winnie the Pooh, Tarzan, Bambi, or Dumbo?
Two of those four had like Shrek. Everyone always cites. I just gonna be. I already know the answer, but one of my favorite shows in like Disney's Hollywood Studios is the Frozen sing along, and there's like because
Okay.
it's like we have the comedic hosts that like go for the events of the first Frozen film, and at one point when they reference that Aunt Anna and Elsa's parents die, and they're like, "Dead parents? What is this? Bambi, Tarzan?" Because of course everyone knows jokes have like a lot of Disney films ends with like a parent dying or like getting
Yes,
kidnapped or
yes.
whatnot, and at least three of these make sense. Well, okay, so Tarzan and Bambi's parents die. Well, I'd say one, but we'll get into that in a second. And then with Dumbo, thankfully his mom does not die, but he gets separated for her for a while at least. But yes, as you
Does Winnie the Pooh have parents? That's a big question.
okay. So, okay, maybe not Winnie the Pooh, but remember there was that one movie, Winnie the Pooh movie about Tigger, and he was like, "Hey, where's my family?"
Yeah, that is true.
But yes, As I alluded to earlier, I kind of alluded to earlier, the answer would be C, Bambi. Final answer.
You didn't pull a Peter Pan this time. You got it right. Your answer's correct.
Of course.
Bambi's a film that I feel like it's a very great film, and I feel it's kind of underrated nowadays.
Very classic, like it's like I said, it was one of the very original. Like
Mhm.
I apologize if I get my information wrong here, but I believe it was. I think it was you call it the Golden Age, which was the original first few Disney films: Snow White, Pinocchio, Bambi, and whatnot. I think that was what it was. Either gold or silver. Silver maybe like Cinderella or
I think
whatnot.
Silver
But
is Cinderella. Yeah,
okay, yeah. So again, this is a classic, very first Walt Disney era production, and like I said, as I kind of joked earlier, at this point nowadays, maybe might know more for, oh no, not Bambi's mom, to quote Matthew Perry in this episode of Friends when like they're talking about Bambi and he's like his character channel is like, oh, I didn't cry, and like what and Joey Matt LeBlanc is like, what, you didn't cry when Bambi's mom died, and he's like, no, yes, I did start crying when they stopped animating the deer. And so it is kind of a joke at this point when it comes to Bambi, like, yep, the mom died. But again, it is still very much a classic of Disney animation. Like it's a nice, simple visuals and story. Just still works very well.
I think Bambi's mom is the most famous animated mother's death, and I think Mufasa is the biggest animated father's death.
Yep.
I think we could all agree. And we're back. Some technical difficulties, folks, but you won't know that after watching this video. Sean, I'm sharing my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes. Sorry about that, folks. Some minor technical difficulties on our end, but it seems we got back. Like I said, when we last left off, we got a victory with Bambi.
Yes, and we are talking about best, like most iconic animated like parents' deaths, and I was saying how Bambi's mother is probably the most iconic mother's death in animation, and Mufasa's the most iconic father's death in animation.
Absolutely. And as I was saying, at this point, admittedly, Bambi, at that moment is kind of more of maybe a bit of a joke at this point. Like, yeah, what's Bambi? Oh yeah, that's the one where the mom dies. But overall, I still think it still stands as one of the classics. I mean, it is classic Disney. It was their, I believe, fifth overall. Yes, it was
Fifth,
Snow
yeah.
White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, then Dumbo, because they had to go to a more sort of one with Dumbo after Fantasia, and then Bambi. And like I said, even if I wouldn't say it's like absolute number one of this era of Disney, I still think it ranks pretty high. Pinocchio is my favorite of the this era because it was the one I watched the most growing up. So all in all, Bambi's still classic, even if most people are always like, "Hey, what happened to Bambi's mom?"
Very true, very true. All right, Sean, you're doing amazing. Let's keep going. 5,000 points.
Excellent.
Which of the following animated Disney canon films had a brand new animated song sequence, The Morning Report, added to it for its 2003 special edition DVD release? Was it The Lion King, Peter Pan, hey, your favorite, Beauty and the Beast, or Aladdin?
Actually, my favorite is the answer, and that's number A. I said number A. It
Number A.
is A, The Lion King. Final answer.
I got the title for the show. Number A. The Lion King finals. Good job. Loren
Oh
Sirius.
yeah, that's gonna be a good one.
Correct. Congratulations.
As we were talking about the Morning Report, the special song now is added to the special re-release of The Lion King. I believe it did play in the IMAX screening, and then added into the DVD, where you could either watch the original version from 1994 or the modern version from 2000. The question said 2003, but I do believe it was still 2002 at least when the blue DVD came out. I don't quote me on that though.
Yeah, we could double check, but I'm pretty sure when I checked it was 2003. But
Oh, I know. Actually, I think it was actually maybe 2004 even. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
but let's let me look at Wikipedia really quick. When did this come out? You can't look at Wikipedia, but I can. Lion King DVD. Yeah, it says 2003 from Google, a Google
Okay.
search.
No, how about that? 2003. I don't know why. When I say 2002, I'm thinking of the IMAX release.
No worries. But for me, like I like Morning Report, but it's like I could skip it. I'll be fine with it. As opposed to like Human Again. Like I love Human Again, so like I still watch Beauty and the Beast with Human Again.
as I said before, like the fact that they did release when they released the DVD, you could either watch the original or the modern the like the modern remaster with the new song. That's appreciated. You know, it's not like Star Wars where we have to like go for like super cheap like laserdisc style pan scan DVDs for like the original copies. It's you could just watch you can just get the DVD and you can watch either the original or the modern version. Case in point, in 2011 when they re-released Lion King again for like a special 3D re-release, I do believe that was the original version, not the one with the morning report.
You might be right. I'm not sure, but that would make sense, I think. Okay, Sean, you're doing amazing. Let's keep going. You still have all your lifelines. 10,000 points.
All right.
What is the name of her school's hockey team that Riley wants to join in the animated 2024 Pixar film Inside Out 2? Is it the Fire Falcons, the Fire Owls, the Fire Hawks, or the Fire Eagles?
That would be C, the Fire Hawks. Final answer.
No, we thought we'd trip you up with a little Pixar question there, but no, your answer's correct.
No, I'm not playing Pixar, so it's
You
not
know this
like
is Pixar.
again, like I said, it's Ghibli that's I'm the one that's not false wrong.
Nice. What did you think of Inside Out 2? Like, I liked it. I don't think I like the first one more, but I actually still like this one. Like, I was surprised that I liked it.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Mhm.
I'd say Inside Out 2 was definitely like a this effort. It's a success. It was very much success. It was a success. Yeah, I know how to speak. It was like I said, it was a successful attempt at continuing a franchise where you were able to expand upon the world of the first film, but not like completely make it to like too big. It's simply like the big thing they expand is like okay, along with like all these memories, there's now these memories can also influence who Riley is as a person, and that's the whole conflict of the movie in which Joy and company try to make sure that Riley doesn't lose that the kind-hearted sense of herself that she's established since then, which of course is then complicated by the arrival of anxiety, who starts to have a negative influence on Riley's life, with a very effective portrayal of how anxiety works. Like, it's very haunting, not just in terms of how they effectively portrayed it out when we see Riley as herself, but also inside headquarters, where you just see like anxiety just become like a big orange cloud, and when Joy gets in there, you see anxiety just trapped on the console, and almost like she's like a specter at that point. Like I said, it's very haunting and a very effective portrayal of anxieties. And as a result, like I said, I think Inside Out 2 works just as well as the first one did in terms of like, having, the typical Pixar fun, little charming little animated bits. Like, I do love the little bit, like when they're like in their, like the mind dump or whatever. Not mind dump, because that's the bottom half of the, that's the bottom where we lost Bing Bong. But no, Deep Thoughts. I think that's what it was.
I can't
where
remember.
where you find they need like that one the video game character for like the fighting game.
Yeah.
And he looks like the fighting game, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll help you." He turns into a ball, and that's really unusual, but it works for them. And then like the Blues Clues, like the version, like I remember I used to be Riley's favorite show, and guess what?
Yeah.
She still likes it now.
Yeah, I remember that.
I did love how they were able to like mix all the other styles of animation with those characters. But again, along with the fun, like all the fun zany bits, you also had the really strong emotional bits. I also really liked how they were able to let disgust, fear, and anger play a bigger role in this one after they were largely on their own in the first one.
Very true, very true.
It was nice that they let they after when Joy has her freakouts, it's like, oh, that is not going to go well. And the fact that it was Anger who actually helped her get back on track, and that was a very nice little thing for Anger. Even though you all know him, he's the one who goes, ah! He's the one who helps her get back on track.
He's the lovable cranky guy.
Speaking of going back to what we were saying on the sarcasm, when they're like, "Boy, are we glad you're here! Boy, are we glad you're here!" Those guys are jerks. Wow, those guys are jerks. And that was also John Ratzenberg's cameo for like the first time in like several films at that point.
Yeah. It was nice to hear him again in a Pixar film.
Yeah. All in all, I'd say Inside Out 2 definitely works as well as a sequel, as a natural follow up to the first film. And like I said, just like Toy Story films, it did a good job of growing up with its audience. Like, this was 9 years after the year of the first Inside Out, so
Oh
kind of
wow,
like
you're
how
right.
Toy Story 2, we went from 2 in 1999 to 3 in 2010. Now that Andy was out of college at that point, it works very well. So all in all, yes, Inside Out 2, a strong outing from Pixar.
Very true. Very true. And strong outing from you, and we're two away from the 32,000 points, so let's keep going. You still have all your lifelines. 20,000, here we
New
go.
Studio Ghibli question.
No, it isn't. Who is the main villain in the animated 2024 DreamWorks animation film Kung Fu Panda 4? Hey, we talked about this earlier.
Yeah, no,
Was
we
it the
just talked about
chameleon,
this.
the caiman, the iguana, or the cobra?
I was gonna say, how about that? We literally just talked about this, as I briefly mentioned, like how Kung Fu Panda 4, I think at this point was the most recent DreamWorks film to have like the most successful run of the box office. Because I always said it was like, I believe Madagascar 3 in 2012. I think it did like 700 plus million, something like that, and that was like the high bar that nothing's been since then. But Kung Fu Panda 4 did very well, a little over 500. So with that, the answer is A, the chameleon. Final answer.
And without further ado, you know your answer is correct. I I, I definitely thought Kung Fu Panda 4 was the weakest of the four, and to me, it almost seemed like an unnecessary sequel or a sequel that just kind of came out of nowhere. But it wasn't like I didn't like hate it, and I enjoyed. Enjoy is a big word, but I was pleasantly I was pleasant watching it, I guess is the way I would put it.
Yeah, I will agree that yes, Kung Fu Panda 4, if I had to rank them all, would be at the bottom. But there's another one I'm like, dang, like some people like really think this will like ruin everything. Like it was like Shrek the Third, like the Kung Fu Panda films or something. I know the main reason why mainly because people like to say like it wasn't as big as a Kung Fu Panda film as it was before. And when I say that, I mean like it's mostly just Poe for most of it. They say, "Where's the Furious Five?" Oh, they're off doing all their training, and then they don't pop up until like some minor non-vocal cameos at the end.
And from
So I think
what I remember, I think the only reason they popped up was because there was complaints that they weren't originally going to show up anyway. And I think because of the complaints like online and stuff, that's why they had them come back in briefly at the end.
like I know because for the original trilogy, one of them from the Furious Five is Master Mantis, and he was voiced by Seth Rogen, and he had some minor vocal like vocal sound effects from Rogen, like ah, 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 and some of was like, wait, I was in that. But I think this is like another one that people are too harsh on. Like it still works just as a classic Kung Fu Panda adventure of Poe going on his own, getting into all his wacky hijinks. I do love how I specifically love the relationship between his two dads, Bryan Cranston and then his
James Hong,
I,
yeah.
I apologize, I forget his other dad's name.
James Hong.
No, I mean, and I know the actor. I was like the
Oh,
dad, yeah, Mr. Ping, Mr. Ping.
Mr. Ping, yeah.
I, immediately I forget Bryan Cranston's character's name, but I love how there was like one point where they are talking because I remember the whole point of Kung Fu Panda 3 was when Bryan Cranston's dad came back. The dad came back, and Mr. Ping was like, "Hey, whoa, hey, now you're stealing my attention. He's my boy." And then there's a nice little thing at the end. I was like, "Hey, he is both our boy."
Very true.
And then and that leads to a really funny moment in the fourth one. It's like when they realize what's happening when Poe's off on his own, they're like, "Our son." And they like a fun little odd couple. Like I'd be totally up just watching a fun little buddy comedy of them going around doing their thing.
Be like a
But
cool
yeah,
like series.
I think I do think people are harsh on Kung Fu Panda 4. They say like, oh, it's not fully a Kung Fu Panda experience because they don't take it's like so detached from like a lot of the usual narrative ideas of the other movies. But I think it's fine. I think some people kind of override. They're like, yeah, they're treating it like the Shrek the Third equivalent for the Kung Fu Panda movies. I'm like, no, it's not Shrek the 3 level. I think it's
Yes,
fine.
it's definitely not like the bottom 10 worst DreamWorks films,
Yeah,
which
it's
some
fine.
people
It's an easy
would
crowd
say it is.
pleaser that give us just more fun Kung Fu Panda action.
Fair enough. It's a very um, fair way to paint it. So for those who haven't seen it, check it out. Let us know what you think. Sean, next one's a 32,000. I have to remind you if you get that wrong, you leave with nothing. I don't think that's, I mean, not nothing. You leave with 1,000 points. But you have your lifelines still, and you can always walk away whenever you want. So let's go 32,000 points, Sean. Which American singer narrates the Legend of Sleepy Hollow segment of the animated 1949 Disney Canon package film, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad? Is it Frank Sinatra, Perry Como, Vic Damone, or Bing Crosby?
That might have immediately revealed why that's another easy one for me. That's number D. I said
Number
number
D.
D
Numbers are not letters.
I am so smart. SMRT, to quote Homer Simpson from like this one episode of The Simpsons. D, Bing Crosby, final answer.
You said Bing Crosby, final answer. After a good Bing Crosby impression, is it all in vain or are you correct? Your answer is correct.
Wrong
Congratulations, you
because you
have.
said number D.
That's true. You have 32,000 points no matter what. I really like this picture I found online. This was posted by the Bing
That's nice.
Crosby official Instagram page. So it's Bing Crosby, it looks like at the studio with which I think are his four sons, Gary, and the
Yeah,
other three whose names I
and as
forget.
those few, they're all popping up over
They're all bobbing up
the
over
thing.
there, and they're looking at the storyboards of all the characters in the Ichabod
Oh,
Crane
nice.
segment of
I can
this.
imagine how valuable like any of those surviving prints must be for
I can
those.
imagine if they're surviving. Yeah.
I've seen like some of the videos of like folks who have like the old animation cells, and I do think they have some that do go that far back.
Mhm.
This is the '40s, so these ones might not be as common as like other ones. But I've seen like a plenty of videos of like archivists and like collectors who do have like those kind of like old cells from like at this point it was like decades ago. At this point,
Yeah, yeah, very true. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I was going to say like I really like the movie like, Adventure of Ichabod and Mr. Crane, Mr. Toad. Sorry, but for me, like I prefer the Mr. Toad segment over the Ichabod Crane. But I know most people
Mhm.
they're the other way around.
I mean, hey, it's your way. It's the honest way. And what's the honest way? I thought you would have known
Thought
that,
you would have
Governor.
known that, governor.
um,
Ah,
yeah, Ichabod Mr. Toad is another very classic, like old school of the we call it the package era films, where it was like they did like shorts instead of like full feature length films. However, growing up though, I actually leaned more towards Fun and Fancy Free, which was the duo
oh,
of
interesting.
Bongo and Mickey and the Beanstalk. That was the one of the package films I watched the most growing up. So I only seen this one a couple more less times than that, but it definitely works with both features, classic, and so classic that in this little fun little thing that they do at the not so scary Halloween party at Disney World, where at some point it's like you go into places to get candy, but if you go inside Mickey's Fill Magic, if you want, you can just sit down and they'll play this Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, and like I think like one or two other things, and just relax, just watch a classic Disney cartoon.
They actually play that in Magic during the Not So
Yeah,
Scary Halloween. Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
because it's one of the things where with Scary Halloween, the Halloween party, like you go around, you can get candy, and that's one of the areas you go into Fill Magic, and on the screen they play that, but I think they play like one or two other things, but like that's like the main thing. I remember I went to one the last time I went over to that. I was like, oh, hey, this is actually really nice. You could, if you want, you can just sit down and watch the movie.
Oh,
And I
that's
do think
cool.
it's a full movie. It's not like they just do like a little clip of it. It's a full movie.
Oh wow, that is so awesome. I did not know that. I have to check that out sometime.
Yeah, exactly. Nice little detail. And then, like I said, Ichabod Mr. Toad, classic of the Disney package films, even though I'm a fun and fancy free guy.
Hey, fair enough. We all have to be something, right? Sean, you're 5 away from the million, and you have the three lifelines plus the fourth one, the double dip. So you have four lifelines. And you have and 5 away from the million. I want to get you to the end. Let's see, 64,000.
Wouldn't be the first time.
What is the name of Phoebus's horse in the animated 1996 Disney canon film The Hunchback of Notre Dame? Is it Odysseus, Achilles, Perseus, or Icarus?
Okay, that's actually one that kind of throw me a little because obviously I've seen Hunchback. Um, I think I will have to use a 50-50 on this because I am going between A and B.
Okay, you're going between A and B, but you want to use 50-50, so using your first
Yes.
lifeline of the game, I'm going to get rid of two of them randomly. B is still there, Achilles, but also
Okay,
Perseus.
so I'm gonna I this might be a risk, but I'm gonna save the double dip for now because I do believe it was B, Achilles.
Is that your
Final
final
answer.
answer? Okay.
Yes, final answer.
This is the first one where you kind of hesitate a little bit. You lean towards A and B, you go to the 50-50, and stuck with B. If you get this right, you keep going. You get it wrong. It was nice having you, Sean. Your answer is correct.
Okay, yeah. Like I said, this is like I said, I've seen Hunchback plenty of times. It's just that's not one of them that I would really remember on sight. I think actually, okay, this is going to be talking how much I know, but Hunchback of Notre Dame, it got like one of the many direct-to-video sequels over
Mhm.
the past years after its release, and they did one for Hunchback with most of the key cast of the original returning. Actually, they did get they got Demi Moore back as Esmeralda, Kevin Kline as Beavis, and Tom Holes, Quasimodo. And there's a joke where like he was like he's talking like something's going on in here. What else? How could I have been wrong about? Like, and then the horse makes Achilles makes and it was like Achilles. That was a trick question. That's kind of like the one thing I remember the horse from. As soon as I heard the horse, I'm like, I remember that a little bit. Again, from the sequel, yeah, the direct-to-video sequel, not the actual movie, the one that is seen everyone loves for like being one of the more surprisingly darker Disney films. But nope, it's the lighter sequel that it was like, okay, this took away all the dark parts of the first movie.
No, fair enough. I think the main joke why they named him Achilles was in this movie, like right around this same where this screenshot is taken from. Phoebus tells Achilles says Achilles heel, so I think that's why
Mm-hmm.
they named him. But
And also remember the
that was
movie
the
that
main
immediately falls after this is Hercules, and they do also reference Achilles again. So double dose of Achilles for your
double
Disney
dose of
animation
Achilles back
classics.
to back. There you go, Achilles back to back. Sean, you had to use one lifeline, but you still have three more. You're far away from the million. Let's keep going.
All right.
125,000. What food was banned by the king after the death of his wife in the animated 2008 film The Tale of Despereaux? Is it soup, rice, beans, or cheese?
Hmm. Okay, so this is the Tale of Despereaux. It was the adaptation of a classic novel, for kids novel. I did see this one in theaters. This was the starred Matthew Broderick, if I remember correctly, as the titular mouse. I think they had Emma Watson as a princess, and like that was a big one there. However, this one I have not seen in a while, and I think I have an idea what I'm aiming at. I'm aiming a bit more towards like I think the soup. Cheese would be a bit too obvious for being mouse and whatnot. So, hmm, um,
Take your time. You have
I
lifelines if need.
part of me doesn't want this might be a bit too because again this was one of those movies that it came out and at that time I was mostly watching these kind of films, all the kid friendly films, but this is kind of one of those like of the mid 2000s that like didn't make a big impact as like say all like a Disney or DreamWorks film. So this is not when I imagine that Eli probably wouldn't know this one off the top of his head. Um, but I do believe I think I remember this one. I think I'll keep Eli's if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'll keep Eli's two expert lifelines available as well as the double dip. So I'm gonna say soup A final answer.
Wow, how sure are you?
Um 50-50. It was either that or cheese, but I think cheese is too obvious because nice.
All right, Sean. This one again, we got you for a little bit, but you used your reasoning and from what you remember about the movie with soup, you kept your lifelines. Was that a smart move? Your answer is correct.
Yeah,
Good
like I
job.
said, this was one of those mid 2000s animated films that didn't quite get. It was one of those things like again you have some big names in it, Matthew Broderick and Emma Watson. I think it was mostly Emma Watson that was the big sell really for like folks of my
Yeah,
generation because of course she was Hermione
because
and Harry Potter.
it was right during Harry Potter time. Yeah.
Yes, but so yeah, I admit this is one I have not seen in forever, so I didn't know off the top of my head. Again, like I said, I just thought cheese would have been a bit too like straightforward, like oh cheese, he's nice, but soup would probably make sense, like I said, poisons. I think it was like poisons. The soup was poisoned by like a bad guy, and like, oh no, if it was
Yeah,
poisoned beans, then I don't want to make it crude here, but oh no, like I said, oh no.
No, the
Sorry, I,
what?
I know. Low blow. That's on me.
No, the story was so this rat in particular, this is rat is voiced by Dustin Hoffman. He falls into the soup that the queen is eating, and she's so scared she dies of fright from it. And because of that, the king bans both soup as well as rats and mice from the kingdom. So that's where that comes in.
Like I said, I've not seen this one in forever.
I I would I think you're fine. Like I rewatched it recently, and the animation definitely does not hold up.
Hmm.
It's one of those that didn't hold up animation wise and
Mid
story
two
wise to me.
thousands,
But
Hoodwink, stuff like that. Ones that are not
mm,
like Pixar, DreamWorks level animation, but they were of their time.
they were of their time, as you say. Okay, Sean, you still have three lifelines. You kept them. You have three questions. Will you get to the million in the first episode? Will you be the millionaire the first time we have a millionaire, like in episode one? Let's see, 250,000. Hey, here's the Ghibli question. Which anime
Uh
studio
oh.
Ghibli film's English dub features the actors George Segal and Beau Bridges amongst its voice cast? Is it Tales from Earthsea, The Wind Rises, The Tale of the Princess Kaguya, or From Up on Poppy Hill?
This one actually might be able to have a bit more easy with, even though I my infamously bad case of Ghibli infamiliarity. I know it's not The Wind Rises because that's a more recent film. I'm thinking more of the earlier stuff, and if I'm right, Earthsea was like the oldest one here. Um, I will do a double dip just to be safe. I want to activate the double dip.
Okay, double diff is
I know
activated. You have two times, and
I know.
for
Oh, sorry.
second, no, I was just gonna say for those not watching, Sean will get the chance to pick one answer. If he gets it right, keeps going. If he gets it wrong, he has another chance. If he still gets it wrong, then he loses. But if he gets it right
Mhm.
the second time, he can continue. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, because like I know Eli said he wasn't too big on Ghibli, so I didn't want to waste him on that. So yes, I will go. So I'm going to explain. I guess I'll explain why my reasoning for this. So I don't think it's I do not think it's The Wind Rises. I think that because that was the most recent of these, and I know some of the names from that American dubcast. You had like John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and whatnot. But I think it was a bit too recent. So, and of these, I Princess Kaguya, if I was right, is a bit another one that's more recent, but not like super old either. And From Up on Poppy Hill is one of the newer ones too. So Wind Rises and From Up on Poppy Hill, I don't think are that. It's B and D. So if it's not A, I imagine it might be C. So I will start with A, Tales from Earthsea, for my first attempt at a final answer.
Final answer? Okay, so you're using double dip. Your first guess is A. Final answer, Tales from Earth Sea. Is that correct? Your answer is wrong. You don't lose yet. You still have that one more
Okay,
choice, but it wasn't A.
that is why we're here. That is why
That's
we're
why
here.
we're here.
So I guess, well, like I said, I think B and D are a bit too more recent to count, and I think, remember correctly, Princess Kaguya is not like really recent, but like not like super old either. So I'm going to go with C for my second one.
Final answer?
Yes, for all I
Okay.
know, it probably was the Wind Rises.
Well, let's find out. You went double dip. You went with A. It wasn't A. You're going with C. Kaguya. Is that correct? Your answer is correct.
Okay, so otherwise I would have been like, "Aha! Ghibli did me again."
Ghibli did you again? Nah, you got the best of Ghibli this time. Yeah, this one. This was one of the.
50,
It
well,
was.
okay, I'm sorry, 50-50 in this case. Like, I kind of got away with it, but it was like just barely.
Yeah, and it's not like you said. It's not one of like the old. It's more. It's newer, but it's not like you said, like one of the newer ones. But as you can see from this cast list, has Chloe Grace Moretz, James Caan, Mary
Okay,
Steenburgen,
so
Bo
I imagine
Bridges.
I do kind of remember when it came out, like the
Mhm.
dub, because I do believe it got nominated for the Oscar that year. So I do believe it might have been 2009 ish. I believe
Yeah, I
something
don't
like that.
remember. I didn't. This one I haven't seen yet. So,
Because I
and
like I said, Wind Rises was 2013. I thought that was way too recent.
mm,
Um, like Bo Bridges, I think actually did Bo Bridges recently pass away or something? It was one of the bridges. Something might have passed
no,
away.
Bo
I don't know.
Bridges is still alive, but George
Okay,
Segal passed away.
sorry, Bo Bridges. If you're watching this, I apologize.
Well, okay. As of time of recording, Bo Bridges is still alive.
But yeah, what was the other ones? The other ones were the on Up on Puppy Hill. That's another one of the more recent ones that I know. I think if I'm right, that's one Miyazaki didn't do. That was someone else of the Ghibli team.
I think so.
And I think I think for all I know, Tales of Earthsea was actually a more recent one too. Again, shows what
University,
I
I think,
know.
was 2008.
I'm going to get around to Ghibli. I promise, folks. I promise I will get around to Ghibli
He has to
eventually. But
finish the
like,
DreamWorks stuff first.
actually, be fair. That actually be a fair point. Maybe I'll finish after DreamWorks. Again, it's a work in progress. Well, again, I promise I will. But again, imagine if I got this wrong. I'd be like, Ghibli,
Yeah,
give me again. That'll be the
well,
first time.
Sean, you had to use double dip, but it worked out. You have two lifelines, both of which are Eli, and you have two more questions in the million. Let's keep going.
500,000 point will
500,000.
be a cartoon saloon question.
No. Which of the following is not one of the values mentioned by the Knights of the Round Table during the United We Stand song in the animated 1998 Warner Brothers animation film Quest for Camelot, which is not one of the values? Is it freedom, peace, goodness, or integrity?
I hope to God Eli knows this one. Can I use one of my good lines?
Okay, you want to use your answer? We're going to ask Eli this question. I asked him this question, and he said, I remember less than 5% of that movie. Sorry.
Don't worry, Eli, I can relate because okay, so Quest for Camelot. This was like I said, 1988. Warner Brothers. It was one of the attempts they tried to get back into animation around this time. Unfortunately for them, it was a considerable bomb. So much so that the other major DreamWorks, not DreamWorks, what I got DreamWorks on the plane. Warner Bros. Animated film of all time, my favorite, one of my favorite animated film of all time, The Iron Giant. It was in a way screwed because Warner Brothers was now suddenly cautious about working with animation. But as I remember, because I've watched the documentary about the making of the Iron Giant, I know they said like when that happened though, and because of this, they weren't focusing on the animation that much. We were allowed to do whatever we want, so that in a way saved the Iron Giant from being just like straight up canceled. I guess imagine straight up canceled at that point. But save. So saved them from, and they were able to make the Iron Giant what it was. Then they got screwed because again, they was cautious about animation and they didn't realize the masterpiece they had on their hands. But that was how it was back in the day. But okay, now I actually do have to. I do actually have to work on this one.
So just to remind you, so if you get it right, you get to the million point question. You still have that lifeline. If you get this wrong, you'll drop down to 32,000. Or you could always walk away with 250,000. And
So
if
you
we
can
have
walk away with this. That was actually just about to ask
yeah,
because I know Al in the original, Al in Millionaire, like I said, I still have one expert line, but again, Eli will not know what I'm talking about. But if I'm decide to walk away, I will stand at 250.
250,000. And remember, if no one gets to the million and we have a round two, the top five of you will come back for the round two. We haven't had a round two in like 4 seasons, but if it happens, 250,000 is a good place to be.
Hold on just 1 second though. Let me look at this real quick. I'm gonna
take your time.
A brief time. Okay, so freedom, peace, integrity, and goodness. Okay, so
which is not one of them mentioned.
Not the one that's not mentioned. I imagine that this is a case. I'm feeling maybe just partially because it sounds like a word. Because it's just like okay. When I say sound like a word, like it sound like something they would focus on immediately. So hence why I'm leaning towards goodness. But like I said, I've never seen this film. I've only seen like the clips or post videos about it. So I actually will walk away here because I just don't know.
That's your final answer, Sean?
Yes, final answer. But as we say, it's you decided if I picked it, it would have been C. Goodness. So I guess let's see what would have happened if I said that C. C is my final. C is would have been my final answer.
Yes, you're walking away 250,000 no matter what. So good job. And yeah, if you told me C, goodness, final answer, you'd have been wrong and gotten under 32. It was actually integrity. So during this song sequence, we meet the Knights of the Round Table, and they have these shields. And as the song goes on, each one by one lifts it up and says the name of a value: freedom. Or one goes peace, one goes goodness, and there's like seven of them.
I saw like a parody video of it, like I said, freedom, peace, and then you see like Captain Planet people. Wind, Earth, Fire, Heart.
I think I saw
Like
that
I
too.
said, this is one. Like I said, as I've established, when it comes to like late '90s Warner Bros. Animation, I'm an Iron Giant kid. I grew up with that one, so that's the one I knew. Like it was only like until like mid 2000 when I learned about. Okay, there's this film called Quest for Camelot. It's like an animated version of like Camelot, King Arthur, and whatnot. But again, this is not one I've seen. So yeah, me and Eli are not. We really have something in common. Like we do not know where this one is.
Fair enough, but
So I
Sean,
think it was I think it was a fair choice to go out here. So I was like, nope, don't know.
I'm proud of you. And like I said, 250,000 is a very good place to be. If we have a round two, I'll let you know, and
Nice
I'll
one.
let you know if you make the top five. But Sean, this has been very fun. I apologize for all the technical difficulties through the
I
recording.
apologize too because I do believe some of it might have been my end too. But hey, that's what happens. So it'll be interesting to see this video come together again. Like I said earlier, like I just love like I see like you see those little interquels like sorry, we had technical difficulties, and you hear like do 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 do
Or
do 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 do
the
do.
SpongeBob thing 2 hours later.
Do, 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 do. Use that music though. You know the one where he's watching the video and Gary goes like Gary. I was just watching the sports channel.
I remember that. But Sean, this has been fun. Before we go, is there anything you want to say, or how can people find your stuff online?
All right. So again, thanks for having me once again. I always love being on this one. Like I said, just really fun, classic. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Fun to partake in, and especially with its animation. And hey, how about you know what? Hey, I didn't lose on a Ghibli question this time, so that was not too bad.
Yes.
I mean, I've had some correct Ghibli answers before. Like there was one about Kiki's Delivery Service, which I said like,
Yeah.
well, it's titled Kiki's Delivery Service. And I just remember that one partially because it was one that aired on that was whose like dub trailer aired was run with a bunch of the old school Disney VHSs at the time.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I am a freelance film critic who mostly publishes on Rhode Island Movie Corner. That's rimoviecorner.blogspot.com. Like I said, right now I'm in the middle of doing DreamWorks retrospectives. At the time I'm doing this. I will soon be starting on the second half of it, which will cover, I will say, Megamind up until Captain Underpants, the first epic movie. So basically, the end of their run with Paramount to the start of to their almost entire duration of 20th Century Fox. So that will be, I can't guarantee you when that will come out, but that will be the next installment of the DreamWorks retrospective series. And, aside from that, sometimes I do reviews, sometimes I'll do editorials, like a list or whatnot. So yeah, Rhode Island Movie Corner.
Awesome. And I'll put links to that below. And for anyone else watching, thank you. This has been episode 1 of season 11, but I have 9 more episodes to go. Will one of those contestants make it to 1 million, or will we get to around 2? Who knows? Stay tuned and find out. Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.